Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. Fresh off her State of the City address, the mayor has laid out an ambitious plan to transform Boston. The goals are lofty. The challenges are many. The mayor is here in the chair. Let's go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR, everyone. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Charmin Zakati. It's great to have you with us this morning. And as you can see, with us at the table is Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu. Michelle Wu, Madam Mayor, it's great to have you with us. And is it appropriate or inappropriate to say happy birthday?
If you want to sing, be my guest.
I don't. I'll spare the world the singing, but happy birthday. And thanks
Thank
for being
you.
with us this
Happy
morning.
birthday. Thanks for being here. In last week's State of the City, the big issue, the big overarching issue here was home and housing. There were major themes. You're trying to bring affordable housing to Boston using city, state, and federal programs. The real estate market, very complex. Developers want projects that make money. So how do you thread that needle and how do you get them on board and get affordable housing built?
This is the biggest stress all across our city and our region, that it's harder and harder for families to afford to stay here in the communities that they built and that they love. And so we are really trying on all fronts to build more affordable housing, to use city land, and then wherever possible to create the incentives and the encouragement so that the market can do its thing and build more housing as well. Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, was in town this last week, and I had a little bit of one-on-one time with her and raised this issue that we know that interest rates are up to try to drive inflation down, but it does make it very difficult for us to get the market to be able to produce more housing. And so we talked about the trade-offs there and the hope for the future. We're trying to do everything we can at the city level as cities everywhere are really adjusting to this new national situation.
You did mention some developers have taken you up on your program to renovate city-owned properties or what have you. I'm not coming up with this.
The Office of Residential Conversion Program.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Yes, the office. 8 developers have come up with that, and so I have taken you up on that offer. Do you think more needs to be done to spur more, though?
This is a great example of a win-win when it comes to the changes that we know are necessary. Fewer people are coming into the office to work in person, more empty office buildings, but we also need to see more foot traffic and vibrancy, and we need more housing. So it's natural sense to take some of those older buildings that can be converted into housing, provide a little bit of incentive from the city, and then try to support them and find more resources to make that happen. 8 buildings so far that would total a little over 170 new housing units downtown, which is every little bit helps. And we're going to continue to try to find places where we can work with the development community, work with affordable housing developers, work with our residents, and look at city property as well. Whatever we can do to speed up the process and drive down costs.
You didn't mention rent control in the State of the City address. Have you given up? Has that ship sailed? What?
No, it's absolutely important to do whatever we can to stop displacement while we're trying to build enough housing to bring rents down. Rent control isn't a silver bullet. It doesn't fix the housing crisis, but it does play a really important role in helping people just hang on to their homes while we are doing everything we can on the other fronts. We have done our part at the city in terms of proposing, studying, passing a piece of legislation that would work for Boston that is a very reasonable measure to curb the most egregious rent increases while also allowing for new housing. We've sent it up to the State House, and we're going to continue to advocate for it.
It doesn't seem to be moving anywhere at the state level.
We have a lot of things up at the State House, transfer fee that would double our housing budget. We have initiatives to help with transportation and childcare and the rest. And so we're going to keep working with them because we know that we all share priority on wanting to urgently try to provide relief for our residents.
And next item is schools. Schools it's always a major focus, and it'll be a major focus in the year ahead. You're a BPS mom. You are fully invested as your family unit. There's a lot of talk about a plan that could close half of the schools that are open right now. First of all, is that likely to happen?
There is no way that half of our schools are going to close. I think there was some maybe extrapolation or maybe even misinterpretation of the plans that we put out, which are really important. For the first time ever in this district, we actually have one place where we know where every single part of every building is, not just a snapshot of which buildings are okay and which are needing a little more renovation, but every boiler, every window, every heating and cooling unit, we know the condition and it's updated. That will allow us to make the decision so that we can see where the investments have to go first.
So given that, what is step 2? What's the next step? 3? What's the next step? 4?
So we're actually a little bit of steps already along the way. Step one and 2 was to do the assessments,
Right.
come up with a plan, and put some money on the table. We already have $2 billion, 10 major school capital projects that we're moving forward on. That is as many as has been done in the last 40 years in the Boston School District. And so we're already well on our way with many of those projects. And then for the rest of the schools, it's really to engage with each of our school communities to understand which buildings actually just need a little bit more renovation, which buildings need a major overhaul, where do we need new buildings, and where does it make sense to actually shift some of the resources so that students can have everything they deserve. Some of the very smallest schools, for example, they're incredible learning environments. The teachers and educators are doing so much work, but the building itself, it doesn't have enough space for them to have performing arts rooms or sports teams. We want every student to have that full experience.
Right.
How are you navigating the community pushback?
You know, we are a city that has so much history, and not all of that history has been affirming to residents feeling heard and feeling like they can have a say in what's happening. And so we know that every decision, especially when it comes to our schools, comes with a lot of needing to repair what has been done in the past. And so there's lots of reasons that Boston can find to do nothing. I stepped up and asked for this job so that I could help us move forward on issues. That means having hard conversations, examining the trade-offs, and then very publicly making decisions together and moving forward.
All right, let's talk about public safety. In your State of the City address, you say gun violence in Boston is down. Public safety, however, remains a big concern in neighborhoods where crime has had a major impact on quality of life. Maybe gun violence is down, and that's what the numbers show, but it doesn't feel like that to a lot of people. What is your message to those residents who still feel the daily impact of crime?
Yeah, we have now for 2 years in a row set new all-time lows for gun violence in the city, but for the experience of family members who are grieving, for communities who are living with trauma, those numbers don't reset every year. It's not it sits for a lifetime and generations. And so our goal, we won't be happy or satisfied until we end violence everywhere in the city. And so we've been working over this last year and a half to really build a community-driven plan. We have a set of committees that meets now on a regular basis that brings together not just our police officers and the incredible training they bring, but also on the ground outreach providers, our school resources, community providers, those who are in our faith community and neighborhood leadership. Public safety is really a shared responsibility, and it's one that we need to open up to everyone. The commissioner, we're so lucky to have Commissioner Cox in Boston because he knows every corner of the city as well as every level within the department. And he's taken the data analysis approach that the department has, right? Every Monday I get the numbers on what our safety statistics are. Every 2 weeks internally, the command staff and captains go over it. But now, starting under his tenure, the communities also have a chance to look at the anonymized data, protecting with privacy.
Right.
But everyone is invited in, and even that back and forth has been, sure, people learn about what's happening, but they are informing the Boston Police with new strategies on how to keep everyone safe.
Let's talk about Massencast, because the last time we were here, you were discussing your plan to clear out Massencast, a plan that has succeeded in physically clearing out the tents and the tarps and finding new housing and services for those in need. It's been about 2 months or so since the plan was put into effect. It's not exactly problem solved down there because there are going to be, and there still are issues down there. How do you prevent a relapse? How do you prevent the scenes from those things coming back up?
That's right. This is not this was never going to be a challenge that could be, you check the box and you fix it and then it's done.
Right.
We are continuing to build the infrastructure. It's been a 2-year process of bringing together housing providers, shelter operators, public health experts, those who are providing recovery treatment and services. And we are now more coordinated than ever before between public safety, public health, and all of city services. And so we know that the real work is going to continue through when the weather gets warmer, through this year, and through our plans to make sure that we can build and scale the services that are needed, because it's not just people who are living in Boston today who need services. Every single day, more people arrive in our city seeking services, and so we need to help other cities all around the Commonwealth and the region and beyond also to understand what works.
Would you grade giving police more immediate authority successful?
That was a huge piece of what has enabled us to be able to be in the situation we are today. I think we had worked very hard to have a pipeline and infrastructure where people could get immediate placement and resources and case management, but to have public safety, have the ability to respond immediately has been a game changer.